Android 15 is now available on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Well, in the form of One UI 7 Beta 1. And if you actually want to see how potentially Android 15 will look like on your compatible future Galaxy device for your smartphone, then yeah, come with us as we give you a quick first take of what we're seeing so far when it comes to Android 15 on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Hi, Ben from SamMobile. If you enjoy new and exclusive videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV. Here is our first quick take of One UI 7 Beta 1 with Android 15 on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. There is so much to dive into how Android 15 is working so far with One UI 7 Beta 1 on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. This is going to be more of a first quick take to see what can we notice that is different so far on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. We're going to have it side by side next to the Galaxy S24 Plus, and that is running on One UI 6.1 based on Android 14 for the latest November update, while we have the Galaxy S24 Ultra on the left, of course, with One UI 7 Beta 1 running on Android 15. First thing we notice when we go into the software update information page is, of course, that this is One UI version 7.0. Of course, this is a beta, so this is limited to certain devices in certain regions, so your mileage may vary when it comes to access to this version. This is, of course, on Android 15, and the software version does end in BXKZ, and it does push this to the December update for 2024. When it comes to the Easter egg for Android 15, this is pretty much the same as what we saw with Android 14. So no changes here. So that pretty much sets the parity of what Google does when it comes to the Easter egg for 2 generations running. I'll do a quick run through of what I've noticed so far, but there will be a follow-up for more in-depth detailed look and breakdown of Beta 1. So be sure to stay locked in and subscribed and notifications on so you don't miss it. First of all, we can notice the aesthetics. Some of the key icons such as your gallery and the local icons from Samsung and Google have changed for a much nicer and cleaner look. And even when you're going through the quick change menu where you're switching between the applications, you can see that this follows a new carousel with a nice clean animation and slick look compared to what you had on your One UI 6.1. The first thing you're really going to notice is a bold new look. One UI 7 is introducing a nice fresh redesign to key components, including things like the buttons, the menus, the icons, control bars, providing a much more consistent visual experience with curves and circles, making it just much more of an inviting look to the overall UI. And we are really liking it so far. So this is something they added more colors to it and a much more vibrant and circular look with more blur effects around in unique areas. This is pretty much what we're seeing here. Again, we can see a fresh new take on some of the icons, even down to the widgets, with more widgets options. And this is something that Samsung are really focusing on with One UI 7, giving it a fresh new look. Now, when it comes to the home screen and the app drawer, things have been greatly enhanced. It's just looking much more fresher. And the most important thing with the app drawer is there is now vertical scrolling. We have been asking for this on a native level for so long when it comes to the app drawer, and this is something that Samsung have finally answered the call to. So this is great to see, and I personally am a massive fan of this. You've got more control over your apps and widgets. You can actually resize it for the size that you want, the transparency, the color, the look. This is a level of flexibility that is really nice to have depending on how you want your home screen to look, which is great to see. There's more settings for how you want your widgets to look in terms of transparency or having a background. So this is also a great addition. You also have an option to enlarge your folders to make it easier to quickly access the applications that are in the folders. And of course, the Finder search bar has now been moved to the bottom of the app screen for easier access, and this is really aiding onto the original philosophy of One UI with better reachability. Now let's move over to the lock screen and always on display options. Things have really revamped here in a very good way. You have the ability to see ongoing tasks on your always on display and lock screen, like the timer, clock, and also things that really need that constant information. This is great because you don't always have to unlock your phone to get distracted. You can get the information that you need right on your always on display as well as your lock screen. And when it comes to the clock widget, there are so much more variations of different clock styles that you can add onto your home screen as well as your lock and always on display. There's even more flexibility when it comes to editing the size of your clock with way more option and just the ease of use of doing it. And now you can see more and do more with widgets on the always on display and the lock screen with more options and information. Now for the quick panels and notifications. The notifications have been given a fresh, new, rounded look. There's a nice bounce to the notifications when they arrive, as well as when you swipe down. And speaking of swiping down, the notification and the quick panels have been separated. You can actually change this, but by default, they do come separate, whether you swipe on the left or the far right for notifications, as well as the quick panels. Following on from what you could do with the always on display with more information, you do have live notifications. This gives you continuous look of what's happening with things like timers, where you can tap, reveal it more, and it can go back on the top left in a small live notification. This is great, less distracting, and a much more streamlined experience when it comes to notifications for ongoing applications that need it. And now the customization that comes to the quick panel. You can pretty much reorder the different stacks of what you have in the quick panels, whether it's the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth settings, or you're now playing, or the icons that come with the quick settings, notifications, and icons that you have. This is great flexibility and gives you even more control than you ever had before. The camera user interface. The UI has been given a nice overhaul, aiding for better reachability and a visual look, making it easier for you to change and have access to the most important settings that you need to help you capture the best images and videos anytime, very quickly, in all the focal lengths that are supported on your supported Galaxy device running Android 15 with One UI 7. The enhanced zoom options are there by default with a 2x option, and when you do press it, you do see an extension for more of the available extended zoom available there. You can also save your exposure settings for compensation so that there's consistency as you go through. The Pro mode for photos and videos have been greatly improved as well, in line with the UI change for a much better user experience for Pro users. And the grid lines for framing aids have been improved, giving you more options than ever before. There's a plethora of updates when it comes to the gallery with the Photos app, but in this particular situation, we can see that there's improved video editing options where you're able to animate and add stickers and just have more control over things like changing your speed. And this is something that is a great addition for those that want to actually edit more natively within the gallery app. Now moving over to the core settings of the phone, battery. There are more power saving options available when you go into the battery option. This is great as this will give you even more flexibility to extend your battery or manipulate and use it how you would like for a much more consistent battery experience all the way through. This is great for more options for better battery life, is something we will not complain at. There's more control over the battery protection option between 80 to 95%. And there is now a new charging effect, which is much more subtle, smaller, and appears at the bottom of the screen instead of the middle. And this is to stop and prevent interruptions on your display. There is so much more to delve in with Android 15 with One UI 7 Beta 1. Again, this is the first beta version with plenty more to follow, so be sure to stay locked in as we do more in-depth coverage of One UI 7 on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Be sure to let us know if you do have access to One UI 7 Beta 1 on your device in your region and what your experience has been so far. For the latest news and updates on Samsung, be sure to visit us at SamMobile.com. And for the latest videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and we will see you next time.